So we won't start. Okay, so you're live.
Okay, but I'm not ready yet.
Okay.
Okay. All right, you guys, we'll get started in just a few minutes. 2 minutes. Is my little like script thing on there? Did I lose that already? Thank you. That's an extra. Oh, it's over here.
What are you doing?
Oh, we're working. I know we might need to have a
You marketing? Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you a business owner? I think I saw like a number. Yeah. Our Holy Vintage in the Soho market. So cool. Must be like a lot of work, but very exciting. It really is.
That water thing is very loud. It's like the background noise. It's kind of funny. Okay, I think we can go ahead and get started, you guys. Thank you for joining us for the Careers in Business panel, which is part of Sonoma County CareerFest 2023. For those of you who are watching this event live streamed or as a recording, we're in the College and Career Center at Maria Carillo High School. My name is Kim Handel. I'm the College and Career Counselor at Maria Carillo. And then we also have Veronica Cordero, another counselor who's here supporting. Now I am very excited to introduce our panelists. So we have Mercedes Hernandez, owner and founder of Holy Vintage and the SoCo Market. Next, we have Natasha Lockwood, Senior Content and Product Marketing Manager at Telium. And last but not least, we have Christian Solis Flores, Financial Services Professional at New York Life Insurance Company. Thank you guys so much for being here today.
Thank you.
Okay, so we'll go ahead and get started with our questions. So we have 5 questions, and we'll ask the same questions to all of the panelists if we have time. And then at the end, we're going to reserve 10 minutes for audience questions. All right, so Mercedes, if you don't mind starting, the first question is, please introduce yourself and just give a brief overview of your current positions and the company or companies where you work. And then also, what are some of the activities and tasks that you do like on a daily basis?
Yeah, so I own Holy Vintage. It's a vintage clothing shop downtown Santa Rosa on 4th Street. I opened that in October of 2021. And then I run an outdoor community market for small businesses called the SoCo Market, which we hosted in downtown Santa Rosa too. We host that, our markets from April through August consistently. And so at Holy Vintage, thankfully we have a staff in store. So I have a full team who helps with day-to-day operations in the shop. So I'm really able to work on the back end of the business, which is like the marketing, ordering clothes, website design. And we're open 7 days a week in Santa Rosa. And then with the SoCo Market, that is like an event coordinator position. So it's what I do. So organizing events. So each event, we open applications for small businesses to apply to be a part of our event. And so, that's mainly a day of things. So vendors show up, and our events are usually from like 5 to 9 on a Friday. It's really fun. We have food trucks, and I manage over 80 vendors who participate per event. So day of, we are, helping vendors unload, getting them situated in their booth spots, and then just running the event and making sure everything is fine the day of. It's really fun, and it's become just kind of a staple in the community, and being able to help small businesses is really where my heart's at. And that's something that I had the SoCo Market. I started during the pandemic, towards the end of it, because we just saw a huge wave of, people start businesses of their own. So I wanted to create a platform where they can connect with the community in person and showcase their business. So we went from 11 vendors to, hosting about 80 to 90.
Wow.
Yeah, it grew really fast. Yeah, so it's been a lot to manage. But prior to this, my entrepreneurship journey started when I was 18. I started a women's online clothing store called Bow and Arrow Clothing. At 20, I was able to open up my first storefront in downtown Cotati. So I owned Bow and Arrow Clothing, and I recently just sold that this past January. So we were coming up on 7 years of that business. So it was becoming a lot for me to manage all three. So it was time to kind of like part ways, and my heart's just been with small businesses in the community. So that's kind of been my main focus right now.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing.
Yeah.
Christian, so yeah, same question. Just if you could just tell us a little bit about where you work, what your position is, and just kind of what you do on a daily basis.
Yeah, so I work with New York Life. I'm a financial service professional through Nine Life Securities LLC. So that means I'm registered with FINRA to do all sorts of securities. What I do on a daily basis is a lot of marketing, my business, my brand, and I do prospecting, going out and meeting clients. And probably my favorite thing is sitting down with clients and actually evaluating the situation, seeing how we can be a resource for them, and always learning, always studying the markets, what's going on in the economy, and how I can, better my practice, better myself, as well as getting further designations that would help me help my clients.
Sounds good. Natasha, same question for you.
Yeah. So I work at a company that is a software company. Basically, what they do is analyze user behavior. So for example, let's say you're shopping for a pair of red shoes, and Nordstrom is saying, okay, so user 53 is looking at shoes, they're looking at red shoes, but they didn't actually buy anything. So Telium takes a lot of data from across the web and says, okay, user 53, this is probably this person. We know that they will most likely buy the shoes if they have a coupon code, for example, and they like to get that through email. So we create user profiles that basically drive business going forward. What I do for them, I do a lot of different stuff for them. It's a $50 million company. We are a team of 30. But product marketing and content marketing is a team of 3. So it is very small. But product marketing and content marketing is not something that I ever really thought I was going to do. I thought I wanted to be in beauty and lifestyle. That's where I got my start. But kind of like on a day-to-day, I source a lot of different content. So I see what users are talking about, whether that be data clean rooms or like some of the more technical aspects of what I do. All the way to just like general marketing stuff, like what are the types of customer data that people care about. I kind of like bring that all together and write blogs, social media posts, and really get people in. So we think of marketing like a funnel. The top of the funnel is the people that are just evaluating the business. Bottom of the funnel are people that have actually bought the software. So we revolve a lot on the top of funnel marketing. So yeah, that's what I do.
Okay, thanks. So the next question, and we'll jump back to Mercedes. So you touched a little bit on, what you were doing before your current businesses, but if you have anything to add in terms of telling us a little bit about your career path. So did you start in this field, or have you had any other careers along the way? And then how did you get your current position? So this could be, things like school, internships, luck, connections.
Yeah. So I think this kind of stems from just my passion in fashion, as cliche as it sounds. But I got my first job in retail. I was 15. I got a job at the Santa Rosa Plaza Mall, working at the time it was Justice. So that was my first time working in retail. So I gained a lot of skills in customer service, and that's where I discovered that I loved helping people style outfits and finding that perfect look. So I always I've always been just drawn to fashion, and so I started after I graduated from the high school. I went to Windsor High. I went to the JC. I thought I was gonna be maybe working in an office environment, so I was studying towards business administration, but my heart it wasn't there. And so I had met with a counselor at the JC, and she asked me what I was truly passionate about, and so she actually plugged me into the entrepreneurship program at the JC. And that's where I really learned how to run a business, what that looks like. And so I was able to use a lot of everything I gained from that to opening up my first shop. So that's kind of, what brought me to where I'm at now, I guess.
Yeah, it's cool. It sounds like your experience in high school definitely had an impact and kind of helped get you on the path where you are today.
Yeah, I didn't. Back in high school when I was there, they didn't teach us about entrepreneurship, so that was foreign to me. I didn't know that you could own your own business until that counselor told me. She's like, you can, you know.
Yeah, it's nice to hear
So-
a positive counselor story too.
Oh yeah, I'm so grateful for her. Yeah.
Yeah, awesome. Okay, so Chris, same thing. Just tell us a little bit about your career path and kind of how you got started, and maybe if you had any other jobs that were influential on your way to where you are now.
Yeah, I guess when I was your guys' age, honestly, I knew I wanted to be doing this. I guess life didn't really lead me directly into that. Before this, I was actually running a landscape material store called Dryscape on San Jose Avenue. I learned a lot of just learning how to talk with people, and communication is just very key in the industry. And then building relationships, that go on before, having that difference between working a 9 to 5 that, as soon as you clock out, you forget about your clients, but being there 24/7 and viewing them as, individuals and growing really strong connections. I think that's what I really took away from that job. But while I was doing that, I was also working and going to school full time at San Francisco State. And during that, I actually spoke with Veronica, she was my counselor outside of school. And she actually introduced me to her cousin, Jose, who was in my position at the time. And then one of my customers through my old job at Dryscape, Guy Aranda, he introduced me to his person who is like two people, same career, same company. And then a recruiter reached out to me before I graduated, and they're like, hey, I think you have all the tools necessary to be successful in the career. So I took the jump, and it was just 3 different people reaching out to me at the same time, same company. I just kind of knew it was a sign to go that way. I would say I also had a business internship in San Francisco, living here, waking up 5 a.m., taking a bus down 6, getting there at 7, working till 4, 5, and 6, coming back home. During the winter months, I wouldn't see the light of day, at least in Santa Rosa. And it just really taught me the grit of just, putting your head down and working, and just a lot of valuable information that I learned from the guy who I was working for, Damon Lemby, who's one of my clients now. And then, it was just don't be afraid to make mistakes, and keep on trying.
Yeah, no, it sounds like definitely like something that stands out from what you said is just the importance of those soft skills, and building relationships and networking and making connections, because you never know where that's going to lead you.
Yeah, exactly.
In terms of opportunities. And then did you say what you studied at San Francisco State?
Oh yeah, sorry.
Okay.
I have my degree in business administration with a concentration in finance, and I just really concentrated on investments, hedge funds and alternative investments.
And do you feel like what you learned in those classes or that program, do you feel like that was relevant or helpful in what you do now?
100%. I had to take a series of tests. Some of them I didn't study for because I kind of already had that experience, because I went, and my teachers at San Francisco State were very knowledgeable, and they taught me a lot. So I definitely came in the industry with a curve, I think, of a lot of different people who didn't have that background and still kind of went into the finance industry. So yeah, I would say my time in college was very helpful.
Good. It's good to hear. Natasha, so yeah, just tell us a little bit about your career path, kind of what other positions you've had, and any experiences like internships, luck, or connections that got you to where you are today.
Yeah. So I went to school at UC Davis. I have 2 degrees, one in business and the other one in communications. I'm going to be really honest. I use 2% of what I learned in college in my day to day. I think a lot of what will get you ahead in life is the soft skills. I make a point to really connect with the people that I work with. If I had a dime for every time somebody said your work experience is not relevant to what you're doing now, and just put my hands up and said, okay, I would be not having a job right now. That would just never work out. I said, I started in luxury beauty. That is an industry that I'm super passionate about on a personal level. And I thought that's what I wanted to do for my whole life. And I got in the industry, and it was so fun. It also didn't pay a livable wage. I really prioritized wanting to work remote, wanting to have a great work-life balance. And that just didn't coincide with the companies that I was investing a lot of time in. So I switched to software. That was a very steep learning curve for me. It was like ridiculous. Like the amount of technical knowledge that you have to have is not something that you can necessarily learn from school. I'm sure people do, but for marketing, it's like more about how you know the product, about how you sell yourself. I think that some of the best advice that I had, like walking into the work world, was just to be a type of person that will raise your hand for projects. It's a little bit scary for me because I'm super introverted, but if you can push yourself a little bit out of your comfort zone and maybe just say a comment that you feel like would be valuable and add to the conversation, I feel like that can really push you ahead in life. So a little bit unconventional. I'm sure it will probably change if we talk again in 5 years. But yeah.
Cool. Yeah, and I think that's something that's good for students to know is just the fact that like most people, it's not like you have one job or one career for your whole life. It is more common now that a lot of people kind of transition and sort of get some experience and then pivot a little bit to something different. So
Yeah.
you're like building those skills and experiences along the way that are very helpful.
And I think that you can also like niche down into what you like. I mean, it's hard to get your foot in the door. Like, for example, with product marketing, you have to have at least like 2 years of experience, but you won't have that just walking in. So I would be like, I took jobs that were like very entry level, that I just was like grinding. I was just grinding to get my foot in the door to take the next step. Like try and think of things on a 50,000 foot level, and then you can start niching down into what you really like to do.
Mm-hmm. Okay. We'll go back to Mercedes. So next question is, what is it like working in your current position? And what is, your favorite thing about your job or something that you really like? And then maybe something that's challenging or more difficult for you.
Yeah, running a business, let alone two, it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work. You go from working, when you're in corporate and stuff, you're used to working 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Well, this time, when you start running a business, you're working 9 a.m. to 5 a.m. sometimes. So that's like the reality of it. But I think too, just like it takes a lot of self-discipline, right? And I learned over the years to not like neglect myself, because I think as a small business owner, you put your business first before yourself. And that's one thing that I struggled with. And then you start to definitely feel that like the burnout is real. So learning when to put your foot down and being intentional with where you're spending your time and taking care of yourself, taking a break when you need to is really, really important. And that's, you're not going to be any good to your business or to your employees if you're not taking care of yourself. So it is challenging being a business owner, but it also comes with a lot of rewards. You're doing what you love and what you're passionate about. And then being able to create, job opportunities for other people too it's a blessing as well. And that's something I always wanted to do. My favorite thing, I think, is like just being able to come across different people throughout my entrepreneurship journey, whether that's like, hiring new people to the team, getting to know them and, seeing what they bring, to the business and highlighting, their strengths. And like one thing about, my businesses too, is that I'm always looking for people who are, strong in the areas that I am weak and highlighting them in those areas. And I think that's, one of my favorite thing is just coming across the people on the journey. And then something that's challenging is just balancing life and work. There truly is no balance when you are running a business, but learning to find that sweet spot. And like I said, being intentional with, taking time for yourself to do the things that you like to do, whether that's, going on a hike or going out with friends, whatever that looks like. I think that's challenging, is finding that balance for sure.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
It is definitely difficult. Like you try to find time for self-care, but very important.
Yes.
Christian, what about you? What's maybe something that one of your favorite things about your job, and then something that's more challenging?
Yeah, my favorite thing has to be my clients. I love my clients, and just seeing the impact I have over their lives and how we're changing the situation. There's, identify the issue that they may have, and then how are we going to fix that issue? Just being able to go out and meet new people and also have the flexibility to give back to my community. Not being tied down to my desk for, certain hours of the day. I can go out and just really connect with, not just my clients, but prospects or local business owners. During any hour of the day. Also being able to give back to just like the community, and through my position, also having a lot of different resources I can pull from to give back. I think one of the more challenging things, obviously, I mean, like Mercedes just said, running a business it's not nothing simple, and especially when you're responsible for your paycheck, and you're not, someone's not just going to give you a check for doing certain work. It is difficult, right? Because there's market trends. There's all sorts of stuff that can get into the way. Obviously, life gets into the way of you trying to run your business, from a marketing standpoint, from a prospecting standpoint. When you're sick, it's, there's no PTO. But yeah, I guess just like the small things of running a business, right? You ended up, you bite off more than you actually thought that you were actually committing to. And then when you're just kind of there, you're rolling with the punches. But it's all about adapting and getting through it, right? For every downside, there's always going to be an upside to all the challenging situations.
Cool. And this goes back to the last question. And I apologize if you already said this, but in terms of kind of like how you're working with clients, is it it's kind of like financial planning, like you're helping with retirement, like plan for retirement or investing?
Yeah, so I cover a lot of stuff just because I do both I work with New York Life and Life Securities, and also I can broker out through different companies through my firm. So I really do anything in the financial services industry, which is very broad.
Yeah.
Right. I could do some, helping people set up their retirement. I could also do some business planning, 401ks, and group benefits, also individual retirements, looking at someone's financial picture and analyzing it and seeing how we can help. I can't really get too much of the details because I can't for regulation issues. But yeah, it's very broad.
Okay.
It's a very broad industry, and then just kind of identifying your niche and where you want to help, and who you're kind of trying to help, and what services are you going to specialize.
Got it.
That's kind of where I'm at right now.
Okay, great. That's helpful. Natasha, what about you? What is something that you really like about your job, and then something that's more difficult?
Yeah, something that I feel like I really like is the fact that where I sit in the company, you basically can talk to a lot of different people and learn a lot from a lot of different people. What's cool about that and something like software is you take a lot of really technical information and you make it a little bit more bite-sized for somebody that doesn't know what the hell you're talking about. So like the example that I gave you with the red shoes, I think that would be a lot different if somebody with like a data architecture or something like that, where it was explaining what we do at Telium. So I think that's super fun, is like you get to package something in a way that you think would make sense. Something that would be challenging is there is just like a lot of fires going on all the time. I say that with love because I feel like a lot of businesses that I've worked for do that. But there is just a lot of input coming in from a lot of different folks. And, when leadership or the executive level wants you to do something, you kind of have to like drop everything that you're doing and start focusing on what they want you to. So that can be really challenging when it comes to like balancing, like they were saying, like your work-life balance, like, really drawing boundaries. No, I log off, at 7 p.m. That's the time that, that's me time after that. So just, drawing your own personal boundaries, whatever that means to you. I think that's challenging, but will like really serve you in life going forward. So
great. Yeah, definitely. Depending on your work environment, like there's such different work settings. I guess it makes me think. Being like if you're have your own business versus working at a really large company, it's like good to think about kind of what your work values are. Before you get out into the working world.
Yeah.
Okay, so next question, we'll go back to Mercedes. What do you think has made you successful in this field, and or what are some important attributes or skills that are for a job in this industry?
Yeah. So what's made me successful in the field? I think just because everything that I've done comes from passion, and passion is what's going to keep you going forward even when times get hard. So, the past 7 years, as a community, Sonoma County, we've been through flood, fire, and now pandemic. So as a small business owner, it was challenging navigating through those times. And there was times when I wanted to give up and pull the plug, but it's once you overcome those hurdles, like it makes you so much stronger. And I feel like you usually just come out stronger on the other side. And so when things come my way, I know that I won't be swayed like I used to. Like I feel like I have a strong foundation now because of everything I've been through on my entrepreneurship journey, and it's brought me to where I'm at now. And I'm, I think too, just being a people person, like I love community and, building relationships. That's also made my businesses successful as well. And I think knowing how to market your business, like it comes down to knowing your target audience and who your customer is. And that's something that I feel like I have laser focused vision on for each of my businesses. So it makes it easier when you're creating, content on social media because you know what your customer likes to see. And just being up to date with, new technology and social media, what Instagram's favoring now, that changes all the time. So being up to date on that too really helps your business and helps to grow too. And then some important skills, like I said, just having those people skills comes down like just to that. Like every interaction you have, people are going to remember, and you want to leave that impression. And obviously, you want it to be a positive one. And then I feel like, you start to develop new skills when you're being an entrepreneur because you're wearing 20 different hats. So you learn how to be a photographer. You learn, all these things, how to do inventory, all of that stuff. So that kind of builds along the way. So you develop new skills. But I think customer service, time management are like two big ones. I would say organizing, but I'm not organized.
Something that you're still working on.
Yeah.
Me too. Great. Christian, what about you? What do you think has made you successful in this field, and what are important attributes or skills?
Yeah, I don't think I could have said it better than Mercedes. I think everything that she said falls perfectly aligned into my field. My thing is having a why, right? That's made me very successful. This business isn't really all rainbows and butterflies as they make it seem, and although it could be very rewarding, it is very challenging. But yeah, for me, I have a notebook where I write down, why is it I wake up every day and go out and try to help people. And when stuff doesn't go my way or stuff's just kind of bad, I look at the why and I'm like, okay, all right, this is why I'm doing it. Get up and move forward. And it gives you that kind of reinformation that although it sucks at the moment, it's going to get better, and you still want to achieve your goal. And yeah, just like for me, it's always been Hispanic businesses and not knowing financial literacy. Even for you guys, right? I mean, the stuff that you guys leave high school without knowing and straight into the real world is kind of it's scary. As just thinking of the macro economy here in Sonoma County and and just like the whole nation, financial literacy, in looking at it from a statistical standpoint, we're really not that good. And you'd be surprised how regular concepts I talk with clients, people don't really understand. So I know I'm making a difference, right? I think that's what has just really made me successful. And as far as like skills, people skills, right? Just knowing how to interact with a person. You're dealing with very sensitive subjects. So, dealing with, having to, how to talk with them and how to understand them and, adapt with different people's expressive skills. And, some people are more amiable or expressive, and being able to just really adapt with anyone and match their expressiveness, as well as, learning more about the industry and having a hunger to always keep on learning and progressing and seeing different trends that are coming in, and then obviously surrounding yourself with professionals in the industry where they've been there longer and they have a little more experience than you.
Okay, this might be kind of a silly question, but would you say that it's important to be strong in math to be in your?
Not at all. Not at all.
Yeah.
No. You have to understand. It's not like I don't do calculus on a daily basis, and although I look at standard deviation and stuff like that. But that's just because I went to school and I studied and I understand this stuff. But there's a lot of stuff that I understand, that I don't have to exactly translate as to the way I process it.
Mhm.
Make it more simple and express it to clients. But no, you really don't have to really understand math, although it's all numbers.
Okay. So you have to enjoy numbers and working with numbers.
Yeah, well, I think for me, it's all about enjoying. Not even that. You just have to enjoy working with people and understand the numbers. It's
Yeah.
more of a person like a consumer job
That
than
makes
it is a
sense.
finance job.
Yeah, gotcha. Okay. Natasha, what about you? What do you think has made you successful in your current position?
I think there's a few things. I would say the first is organization. I'm super organized. I think that like I have my personal calendar and then I have my work calendar and I have everything slated out down to what I call like focus times, which is like don't book meetings over this time. I need to just work on work stuff. Yeah, it's a big thing. Otherwise, people will just put stuff on your calendar. But the other thing is, have you guys heard of a DISC assessment? Have you heard of that? No? Okay, so a DISC assessment is basically a personality assessment that everybody in our organization has taken. It sorts you into 4 different parts around a circle, and it's quartered out. So you have people that are like the super people. Those are the people that like you walk into the room and they're like, oh my God, I haven't seen you in forever. How are you doing? And then, all the way at the opposite, which is kind of where I'm at, is like, okay, I'm a little bit more quiet. I want to see some of the data. I want to just kind of sit and work on my own projects. So knowing where people sit and how they like to be talked to and how they like to interact with you is huge. Like, I'm not going to approach the super people with like my quieter mindset. You have to go into that, into environments with them and kind of be a little bit more out there, kind of like make your opinions a little bit more known, because that will create better interaction between the two of you. So I would just say, like, knowing how people talk and the way that they want to be talked to is huge and something that was really valuable for me.
Got it. So we're our last question before we move to audience questions is, what advice would you give current high school students in terms of reaching their career goals? And we'll start with Mercedes again.
Yeah, I definitely don't feel like you have to decide what your career is right now for, the next 5 or 10 years, because that's going to change. Like, I feel like, at the age you're at right now, you're so young, and what my dreams that I had at that time are so different than what I've accomplished and where I'm at right now. There's just so much that we still have to learn about ourselves too. So don't feel like don't feel that pressure like you need to focus on this one career and go to this school for this, because that's going to change. But also just, explore everything that you are interested in and tap into those fields, when you are going to, when you go to college, if you go to college, taking classes that you are interested in, whether that's fashion or like anatomy, whatever it may be, and see if that is something that, again, is interested to you. But yeah, so just kind of keeping that in mind outside of high school.
Yeah, there's so many more opportunities to try out things when you get to college or just after.
Yeah.
High school's great too. You have, a lot of opportunities. But okay, Christian, what about you? What advice do you have for high school students?
I kind of always knew it. Like I said earlier, I knew I wanted to do this as a career, but I had a lot to learn about myself and who I was. That obviously you leave high school and you still you're out in the real world and you still really know a lot about yourself. So it took me to do some digging and figure it out, just explore what I really wanted to do, and eventually I think by luck it's aligned that what I always wanted to do was a good fit for me. But I always remember something I heard from Damon is, don't be afraid to make mistakes, just don't make them twice. So it's everything is trial and error. Try something out. You don't like it, then you're not really committed to it, right? You just let it go, and then try something else. But never be afraid to leave a job. Never be afraid to, leave school to pursue, maybe an entrepreneurship, venture or anything, just because you're scared of messing up, right? We're all human. We all make mistakes. Go out there, make mistakes, learn from them. That's the key thing. Don't keep on making the same mistake over and over, or else you're in this cycle. But yeah, just go out there, be adventurous, be courageous, explore yourself, push yourself to limits that you never thought were possible, and you'll see how you grow as a person.
I love that. That's great advice. Natasha, what about you? What advice do you have for high school students?
Well, leaving high school, I had zero idea what I wanted to do. I had none. And I'm sure like some of you are nodding, you might be in the same position. I just wanted to set myself up to give myself the most opportunities, which is why I majored in something super broad in college. Because even leaving college, I wasn't 100% sure what I wanted to do. Like I said, luxury beauty was like something I was personally passionate about, so I thought maybe I would try it out. But I would just say set yourself up for success as far as like majoring in something that's pretty broad and pretty applicable, and start narrowing down from there. Because if you would have told me back then what I was doing now, I would have been like, no way, like I would have hated that job. So yeah, just set yourself up for success with something broad, and then start following your passions from there.
Yeah, and that's a very interesting, like it's a good piece of advice, but it kind of goes against a lot of times. I think, like I hear, I don't know, you guys probably hear too, people saying like, oh, it's better to have a very, like a major that's really going to like train you for your career. It's going to be very specific, which there are benefits to that, but also a lot of, you know, your education, it's not just the classes you take, but it's like what you're doing outside of the classroom. So like internships and working and community service, and you know, that's what goes on
The
your
connections you make.
Connections, yeah.
Yeah, so as long as you're, you know, people are always going to want to help you.
Yeah.
And that's what I found out, I guess the easy way, you know, wherever you go, people want to give you that support, whether it's in your industry or it's even something that has to do completely separate, right?
Yeah.
It's having those people who, you know, when you're down are going to support you, lift you up. You know, it doesn't matter if they're in your field or not. You know, people, especially those older people who maybe have a little more experience under their belt, are going to kind of, you know, push you in the right direction. You know, I think that's very important.
Yeah, most people like to help young people, you know, it's like, like help you get started. Great. Okay, this is amazing. We're actually right on schedule. So we've got about 10 minutes for audience questions. And so you guys, if you have questions, you could direct it to a particular panelist, or if it's a general question, that's fine too. Does anyone have a question to get us started? Yeah.
I have a question for Varsity. So actually, I really like fashion as you do now, and I have read some information in the website on internet. I'm not sure this is the correct one or not. But like, you open a website, like your own website, when you were 18 or when you were 19, and then after like 1 year after that, you open your, like you build your storefront. Yeah. I mean, it's kind of scary at that time. I think it's really scary because you're really young. And you said that you take like a program in JC. So basically you can like learn something from that program that you take. But like, I mean, where did like any other place that you take, like you took your experience from to like really, I mean, build your store, but like you need like more experience from time, right?
Yeah. So I feel like my work experience working in retail helped me with my business more so. I feel like because especially when you're opening up a storefront, any sort of storefront, and this hospitality business, like whether it's a restaurant, having those people skills and knowing how to communicate and be friendly with your customers is what keeps them coming back. So I feel like when I finally opened up my storefront, we had a lot of new people, a lot of people that were coming in. It was all because of word of mouth. They came in and they had an experience, right? So creating that experience for your customer was huge for me. And you know, my certificate from the JC that I received, an entrepreneurship program, that helped me more on the number side, like, you know, building your startup costs, your business plan, more of that. But I feel like more of the skills that I gained from working in retail helped me when I did open up, because I knew what to look for and how to greet customers and all of that.
Yeah. So it's a combination of like like hands-on, like learning by doing, and then also using the knowledge that you got from school classes.
Yeah. Does that answer your question?
Yeah. What is your position when you're working at retail?
What was my position?
Yeah.
When I so I started just as a regular employee, so sales position, and then I got bumped up to retail management. So working in management helped me because then I knew how to work with a team and manage a team, how to talk with your team, you know, not talking down on people, and all of that. So having that management position definitely helped me a lot. Yeah. You're welcome.
Great. Any other questions for our panelists? I should have prepared some other questions.
Is anyone here like interested in starting businesses of their own? Or like, what do you mind sharing?
Probably construction.
Oh, cool. Do you have family that's in construction? No? Okay. That's cool. Awesome. Yeah, what about you?
I've got a aquaponics greenhouse idea that I
Yes.
wanted to set up as a business.
Okay, cool. That'll be awesome. Yeah. I know someone who opened up a little, what'd you say it was again? Like,
Aquaponics greenhouses.
okay, what is that?
So it uses fish and water to help grow plants.
Oh, wow.
So the fish fertilize the water, and the plants act as a filtration system. for
That
water.
is cool.
And so it's
very
its
cool.
own
Yeah, that's
ecosystem.
awesome. Wow. That's definitely thinking like, future wise, which is how we need to think, I feel like.
And you guys, if you are interested in starting your own business, the JC, so they have entrepreneur
Yeah,
Ship.
entrepreneurship.
classes that you could take as a high school student just to kind of get started and try it out.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah.
Any other questions?
I have a question for both like Natasa and Chris.
Okay.
I have heard that people say that business administration degree is kind of general. So some people they just like advise me like don't take that degree because it's kind of general, and the company they want to find like the applicants that really specific in a specific degree, like a specific area. So what do you think about that?
Well, what kind of job are you hoping to get later on?
Actually, I want to study marketing.
Okay.
But so I'm confused about should I learn like MBA, which is the Master in Business Administration, or should I, because my major now is econ, but actually I want to change to marketing. Yeah.
And so just to kind of paraphrase or make sure, so you're saying like majoring in something more general like business versus choosing something more specific, like a more specific concentration,
Yeah.
or like econ versus business administration.
Yeah, like that.
Do you guys have any thoughts?
Yeah.
Go ahead, sorry. Go
No,
ahead.
it's okay. Go ahead.
Well, I kind of went you can always concentrate in the certain, like for me, it's business administration with concentration in finance. Means more of your elective courses are around a certain topic in business, right? For me, it was finance. You could do like a double minor and minor into, economics and marketing. So there's really a bunch of different stuff. It's all about the classes you take. For me, it was all about the class I took and the people I met. So once you could go online to your university you want to go to and see what classes they offer in a particular sector, right? Maybe marketing or maybe finance, and you see what kind of classes they have to offer. And although you still have to take elective classes, right? Under that whole business administration, very general, but you can always lean more towards a certain topic than another. But you always kind of go and I took marketing classes, economic classes, finance classes, information system classes, although I concentrated with finance. So you get like a little like an overview of everything in business administration. But when you concentrate, those elective courses is really, I would say gives you like a better understanding and knowledge of a particular kind of field.
All right, we've got a couple minutes. Any last questions?
I have a question
Yes.
for you guys.
Great.
If you guys were to go back to college, like given the career you're in right now, would you study something different?
I like that question.
Yeah.
It's
It's
a
a
good
really
one.
good question.
Yeah.
I would say no.
Mhm.
I would say no, just because to kind of to your question, I focus more on the broad stuff and focus more on internships. That's where I devoted a lot of my, I swear, I was working all the time. I petitioned the dean to allow me to take two majors at the same time. I was nuts, you guys. I do not recommend that. But the thing that got me ahead was internships. Because if you look at a resume, I would say the majority of people want to know that you have a degree. They don't really care what that's in. They just want to know that you've gone through the rigorous college experience, you've got a degree, and then you go forward. So if I were to like look at a resume now, I hardly ever look at where somebody went to school or what they got their degree in. I look at what they did with that going forward. So to answer your question, no, I would not.
And just, I was gonna say, like, real quick, and like that could be not just like work experience. I kind of already said this, but it could be like school, like organizations, you know, like a business
Yeah.
organization. I don't know if there's anything else you guys were involved with that, like,
Yeah.
you know, but
There's like groups you can join or internships that you can do. I would say internships is huge. I did a few when I was in college. I did a couple of like entry level jobs once I got out of college, just in the field I was interested in. But yeah, start trying to build your resume. Like get the degree. I think that's super important. But start trying to build your resume in other ways too.
and internships are a lot easier to get when you're in college. Like they're much
Oh, yeah.
easier. I have a lot of kids asking for internships in high school, and there's not a ton out there. There's some.
They're not going to let you flounder in college. They want you to get internships. Like
Go to the
just-
career center.
Yeah, go to the career counselor and it'll help you. Yeah.
What about you, Christian? Would you choose a different major?
Did yours help you?
I wouldn't, because mine did help me a lot. Just kind of in the field of finance and all the class I took, it was very informative. I guess and I don't really need a degree. There's so much online. There's so much like on the job training. So you don't really need a degree in finance. You know, as long as you really want to stick it out and work in my field, because there's so much regulation, so many tests you have to take, and a lot of studying that you have to do when you actually get the job. But I don't think I would change it. I think I made a lot of good. I did a lot of good internships. I was within Latinos in Finance in San Francisco, and yeah, I got really connected. And I think being surrounded with people who wanted to be in finance, but doing different. Everyone kind of, because even in finance, there's corporate finance, and then there's personal finance, and there's now all these new different types of of finance. Now everyone kind of goes and disperses in their own kind of career. I don't really think I would change anything about my major. I think I don't really need it for my job, but it definitely has helped me.
You got a lot out of it.
Yeah, I got a lot out of it. Yeah.
Yeah, that was a very good question. Thank you, Mercedes. Okay, so you guys, we're at 11 o'clock, so we're going to go ahead and wrap things up. I just want to thank all of our audience members, those of you who are here and those of you who are watching from somewhere else. And then huge thank you to our panelists. We really appreciate you guys being here and sharing your experience and expertise. And then just one last announcement is that you guys can view, if you signed up, if you registered, you're going to get a link to the recording, but you can also find it, and as well as the links to the other CareerFest workshops on the CareerFest website. So check those out. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you.
Yay!